Did a single risky coin launch end a viral career just like that? The answer isn't simple, but the warning signs were there from day one. A catchphrase caught fire, the internet handed someone a megaphone, and the next move was to turn that noise into a token. The promise was hype. The reality was a crash that almost nobody close to the ground was ready for. And the gap between the two is where this story lives. The moment the coin hit the market, the clock started ticking. People heard community, utility, long-term, the usual words that show up when someone wants you to believe in a brand new thing. But on-chain, the numbers told a colder story. A handful of wallets controlled most of the supply. That is not a community. That is a pressure point. As soon as those holders sell, the price doesn't dial down. It drops through the floor. Newcomers aren't investors at that point. They're cushions for somebody else's exit. That's the part most people don't understand until it's too late. When a celebrity or viral star launches a meme coin, insiders and early snipers move faster than normal fans ever can. By the time the masses even hear about it, the price has already zipped up the roller coaster and is peaking over the edge. The ride down is inevitable, and when a tokenomics chart looks like a power pyramid, someone at the bottom pays for the view at the top. This wasn't just another messy rollout, it turned into a public interrogation. CoffeeZilla jumped into X Spaces and started asking the questions nobody on the team seemed ready to answer. Where did the money go? Who controlled supply? Why did the launch look like it was engineered to let a few people exit while everyone else learned a very expensive lesson? The answers were vague, then defensive, then silent. When the talking stops that fast, people don't forget. They bookmark, and then nothing. Vanish. Quiet pages, no explanations, just a disappearing act while headlines stacked up and on-chain threads kept growing. The internet did what the internet does. It filled the silence with theories. Some said she was embarrassed. Some said she was told by lawyers to hide. Others just laughed and moved on. But quiet never fixes a credibility problem. It only lets it ferment. When the silence finally cracked, it wasn't a clean press tour. It was a leaked podcast episode that felt like a rehearsal for redemption. FaZe Bank sat down with her and a couple of crypto voices who sounded less like neutral analysts and more like firefighters trying to contain a blaze that had already eaten the building. The tone was soft, apologetic, careful. She said she didn't really understand crypto. She hinted that lines were fed to her. The lawyer talk peeked through. It had the energy of, we were misled, we trusted the wrong people, we wanted to do good, and things got out of hand. The problem? The internet can smell spin. When a project uses your name, your image, your voice, and your platforms to promote, you don't get to be a bystander. You are the face, and faces carry responsibility. That's not cruel, that's how influence works. You can cash the check or you can cash the trust. The market usually lets you pick one. Then came the official comeback. New stage, bright logo, big guest. KSI across the table is a headline by himself. You put him on a mic, audiences pull up a chair. It should have been a turning point. But attention is not forgiveness, and clout does not equal depth. You can't borrow credibility from a guest if your own house still looks shaky. Audiences will watch because they're curious. They will stay because they feel safe. This didn't feel safe. It felt like riding a borrowed bicycle with the wheels wobbling under the frame. The strangest part was the energy. Instead of curiosity, there were softball questions that felt like they were printed off a generic list 10 minutes before recording. It made the power dynamic lopsided. The guest looked more prepared than the host. When that happens, the whole "I'm rebuilding" narrative starts to bend. You don't win back trust with vibes, you win it with work. And the numbers? They didn't roar, they sighed. A giant guest and a fresh return should pull people in. Fans, haters, everyone in between. When that many people shrug at the exact moment you try to reset your image, that's a diagnostic. It says the audience fatigue is real. It says the apology wasn't accepted because the apology never really arrived. It says the coin wasn't just a hiccup. It became the headline stamped across everything else. There's a deeper lesson here that has nothing to do with this one creator, and everything to do with how celebrity tokens work. Memecoins tied to personalities turn financial risk into a parasocial product. People don't buy charts, they buy stories. If they feel like they know you, they'll press the green button even if they don't know why. That's why token concentration matters. That's why pre-sales raise eyebrows. That's why promises about long-term building don't matter if a few wallets can crush the price while everyone else is still learning how to connect a wallet. It's also why the "I didn't know" defense lands with a thud in 2025. There's a long list of celebrity coin wrecks in public memory. Everyone has seen this movie. When a new star says they had no idea what could happen, audiences hear, "I didn't care enough to find out." Whether that's fair or not, perception beats nuance on the internet. And once you're filed under reckless, every brand meeting turns into risk management. So where do you even go from there? You can disappear and hope people forget. You can double down and dare the internet to bully you off the stage. Or you can do the slow, boring thing that actually works. Transparency, restitution, and proof of learning. If your name was used to market the token, show the receipts. If you were paid up front, show where that money went after the crash. Put funds into a lock with public terms. Publish a timeline with names redacted and documents unredacted. Bring in an auditor people respect and let them break the story you want told. It's not glamorous, it is effective. The comeback episode tried to outsource that honesty to a guest. It can't be outsourced. You can invite KSI, you can book a stadium of A-listers, but the gap is between you and your own audience. That's the distance that needs crossing. A single viral slogan won't carry you there, and neither will a production budget or a cartoon thumbnail. When people lose money near your name, they don't want to see a couch and a neon sign. They want to see accountability, then change, then time. Here's the irony. A documentary could actually help if it shows the uncomfortable parts instead of polishing them away. Not a victory lap, a dissection. How the deal came together, the pitch deck, the normie targeting, the wallet flows, the legal emails, the panic, the silence, the frantic calls, the pressure to post a statement that would calm a storm no PR team could calm. The moment somebody said, "Just go quiet." And why that advice felt safe when it was actually the riskiest move of all. Would people watch that? Absolutely. Would they forgive? Maybe. Forgiveness online has a price, and it's not paid in views, it's paid in evidence. Evidence that you understand what happened, that you know who got hurt, that you care more about their losses than your next upload, and that you'll never sell a product you don't understand to an audience who trusts you to know better. But that wasn't the whole story. There's one more piece, the industry around her. Managers, handlers, promoters, devs, exchanges, PR shops. When a token spins up around a person, there's a small economy rushing to grab a slice. The faces are interchangeable, the playbook is not. If creators don't bring financial adults into the room, someone else brings adults with different priorities. That's when the spreadsheets stop mapping to community and start mapping to exits. If you're a fan watching all of this, here's the simple filter. Any coin where a small set of wallets control the majority of the supply, run. Any presale with friendly allocations, run. Any "we're locking our tokens" promise without a verifiable contract, run. Any "this is for the community" marketing that targets newcomers instead of educating them, run faster. Your gut is smarter than you think. If you're a creator, here's your version. If you don't understand the thing you're selling, you're not ready to sell it. If the team wants you to read lines you didn't write, don't. If your lawyer tells you to keep quiet, ask them to help you be specific instead. Silence is a strategy only when you have nothing to say. In a public scandal about money, you always have something to say. What you took, what you kept, what you're returning, and what you learned. And if you're here, there's still a path, but it's narrow and uphill. Start with the ledger, not the lens. Put numbers before narratives. Skip the winks and the inside jokes. No more "I was naive" without "here's the audit." No more "I didn't know" without "here's who did, here's when they told me, here's how I ignored it." You don't have to be perfect. You do have to be specific. People don't hate mistakes. They hate feeling like the punchline. They hate being told it'll be different while nothing changes. They hate apologies that sound like marketing. They hate seeing the same pattern dressed up in a new haircut and a guest list. So, did a single risky coin launch end a viral career? Not automatically, but it rewrote the script. Fame used to be the answer to every question. Now it's the first question people ask. If you could sell them a coin once, what else are you willing to sell them next? Maybe there's one wildcard left. Not a new token. Not a bigger guest. Not a louder thumbnail. Something rare online. Proof. If she brings that, she might not get all her audience back. She could get enough. If she doesn't, then the story stays exactly where it is. A cautionary tale about how fast a catchphrase can turn into a case study, and how the internet never forgets the receipts. But what happens next would surprise everyone if she chooses the boring path that actually works. We'll see who blinks first, the audience waiting for specifics, or the team waiting for the next stunt. Until then, remember, attention is not a currency, trust is, and it spends slow.